association law, family law, bankruptcy law, along with health show topics like pain management, men's health, and dental implants. Now, sit back and enjoy today's Ask the Experts with host Steve-O.
We have to, you know what? Oh, hello.
Boy, we are on. We're sitting here
Having a whole
just having good
conversation
time. Hey,
about
welcome
meaning of
to
life.
Ask the Experts. We're today, our first show, we're going to be talking about family law, and she's back in studio. Actually got someone said, what happened? I mean, because we run your show if you're not here.
It's been a couple of months,
Tina
I think.
Leward's back.
I'm here.
Our board certified attorney looked nice today.
Oh,
She's
thank
got
you.
her jeans
As do
on,
you.
so I know you're not in court today.
Correct.
She's working out of the house today?
No, I was in the office today. You know, we wear jeans in the office in 2018.
This is not casual Friday.
And jeans
is it?
and a blazer. I got it. I got the business casual.
So have you missed kind of being on the show?
Of course, yeah.
We got
I always
some
miss you
crazy
guys.
questions.
Crazy. Well, crazy is what
Some
I
of
do.
them are back from last month still. Yeah. So first of all, tell everybody, because I just found out that we get so many new listeners every
nice.
month. So
Good.
introduce yourself. Tell everybody about your practice.
So I am a board-certified marital and family law attorney, which I always say is a polite way of saying I'm a divorce lawyer. And I've been practicing for 18 years. I have had my own practice, Lewert Law, for the last 15 years. I actually just celebrated my 15-year anniversary October 1st in business. So that's kind of nice. And my office is in Boca, and we specialize
easy to find.
specialize in divorce, custody, alimony, child support, time sharing, parenting plans, contempt, enforcement, alimony, equitable distribution of assets, complex divorce cases.
Now, I did have someone ask me, and I almost really know the answer to this, but they want to know if you deal with adoptions at all.
I actually don't. That is, it's really a separate area of the law, so I don't. But if they call my office, I can give them a name, a name or two of adoption attorneys in the area.
Someone asked this question.
It's a separate area. It's actually a separate area of board certification. You can be board certified in marital and family, and then adoption is a separate area of the law.
Okay. Now, you take cases on from Dade and from Broward.
Mm-hmm.
And
Palm Beach.
And, you're in
Palm Beach.
Palm
Yeah.
Beach. And I'm going to people are going to learn, if you are considering going through a divorce, people are going to learn something today that a lot of people didn't know.
Which is?
This is a no-fault state.
This is a no-fault state, yeah.
Because some of the questions we've had
I
is...
still get questions. Just last week, someone called me.
What if I did this wrong in the marriage?
Yeah, or the other person. What if the
Yeah.
other person did this wrong? So, yeah, somebody called me just last week and said, if my spouse, is addicted to a substance, or
Okay.
does that make them a bad person, and I can get more and they can get less? And first of all, no.
Right.
And also, addiction is considered an illness, not necessarily misconduct. But so there are all sorts of
Mistreating the kids, it doesn't matter what it is.
Even infidelity. It's
Right.
there's really no misconduct like that that's going to mean that you get something more than you otherwise would have gotten, or that the other person gets less than they otherwise would have gotten. So
people don't know
it's
that.
a no-fault state. We can't punish our spouse for their bad behavior. It also means that to get the divorce, to file for the divorce, you don't need to have legal grounds to get the divorce. Well, you don't need
They
to
have
prove.
some fancy way of doing it now.
Well,
what they
it's not
call
so
it.
fancy. You just you do is you file your petition and you say the marriage is irretrievably broken.
Irretrievably
and
broken.
that's a legal phrase, and it means that the marriage is over and there's nothing that the court can do to put it back together.
And I'm going to get a question out of the way right now. There's nothing for the grandparents. I hate to say, it's
Right.
amazing
Yeah.
how many emails. What about the grandparents? Do we get to keep our rights?
Yeah,
You don't have any rights.
Did the grandparents ever have rights?
Right.
No, grandparents don't have parenting or visitation rights or time sharing rights. Yeah. So no, and usually I tell people, well, the grandparents and the aunts and uncles and cousins and extended family are going to spend time and see the child when it's your time, mom's time or dad's time, and so their extended families spend time with the child that way.
You know what? I say this every month, and please don't misunderstand this, because I know a lot of women who said, boy, I wish I'd have spent extra money. I wish I hadn't been looking at just the fees as to a lot of women, not that much with men, But women,
I hear both.
You do?
I hear both. Yeah, both. I mean, sometimes it also comes down to not even necessarily in the divorce that they were trying to save money. Some people are. I mean, they're looking at the price tag and the cost. And
some people wish they could do it themselves.
Yeah, and generally, I always say, with any service, you get what you pay for.
Right.
That's what I think. And but I see people not just necessarily trying to save money or cutting corners, but they'll or hiring someone who does charge less because maybe they have less experience doing family law. You got to watch out for that. But I see people also signing agreements and kind of giving up certain things because they've run out of money. And they're
Right.
going, I can't, if I have a lawyer, I can't afford to pay more legal fees. I can't afford to eat. And that's a little scary because, when you settle a case, and most everyone wants to settle their case. No one wants
Right.
to go to trial. There's two ways the case is going to end. Your divorce case, it's either going to be settled by agreement, or you're going to go to trial and the judge is going to make all the decisions. And nobody wants to go to trial. I always tell people trial is a last resort. You don't want the judge. Judges are very fine people, but they're human beings, and
Right.
it's a stranger. It's a stranger who doesn't know, doesn't have the experience that you do
Right.
with your life, your case, your children, your family, the background facts. And in, a day or two of trial, which is what you might get for a typical divorce case, they're not going to even have the time to delve into as many details as you would love to get out there. So it's just almost never worth it to go to trial. But I see people, and so when you settle a case, of course, part of settlement is compromise. You have to compromise. Both sides have to
Both sides,
compromise
right.
something. But I do see people, lately I've had a few cases where I kind of can look at the agreement that they signed and they're coming back for, say, a modification of custody, or they want to enforce alimony, or they want to modify, support somehow. And so those sort of post-divorce, post-judgment cases, we call them, I look at the agreement, the original agreement that they signed, and I'm going, yeah, this is, everybody gives up something, but sometimes you got to be careful about giving up too much.
Right.
And the fees and the cost of it, I hate
What
to
I'm
say
saying
it,
is, this is not. Go cut corners somewhere else.
Yeah.
This is not the place to do it. And we're so lucky on the show is we have Tina on here, who is, listen, we have family attorneys call us wanting to do a show, and we tell them that Tina is our attorney, and they said you have an incredible reputation. So your
nice.
own peers.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah. Your own peers say that about you.
Thank you.
So this is, and you handle both men and women.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some questions here, and it's amazing. There's basically 6 questions that everybody has.
Yeah.
Now we do have, maybe because we're in Boca,
Mm-hmm.
about premarital, about signing a premarital agreement.
Prenup,
So it's a prenup.
AKA prenup. Yeah. Prenuptial agreement.
When do you suggest the person does this?
As early as possible before the wedding.
Okay.
And I have people that call me and they'll say, hey, I'm getting married next Saturday. Can you prepare a prenup? And I will say, no, I'm not doing it because
Especially if there's a lot of assets.
And it's too much, frankly, it's too much liability for me.
Right.
And too much liability, even for the person who's requesting that it be drafted or hiring the attorney who's going to be drafting it, because that's one of the things that goes to later on, if there's a divorce, which is the only time you would pull out that prenup or need
Right.
it. We look at the validity and the concerns. The concern is somebody going to try to have that agreement set aside? We call it, thrown out, overturned, invalidated somehow. So things that go to that issue of whether it's valid or not. One of the things was one of the parties put under duress, pressure, undue stress. Before they signed it. And I've seen cases where, people are signing an agreement the day before they're going to leave for a wedding in Paris, and everyone's flying over to Europe for this
Right.
destination wedding, and it's all planned out, and they've spent insane amount of money on this wedding, and he calls her in and says, oh, sign this the day before the flight. No good.
No.
Absolutely no good. And she's does she have the opportunity for a lawyer to look at it, to have, to make a meaningful to have an understanding of the agreement, and also to have a say in it. Maybe she has some changes. Maybe she has some things she'd like to negotiate about it. So, I will absolutely tell people, try to do it
weird.
as many months in
Starting off
advance.
a marriage with almost like a business.
It does seem weird to a lot of people, and I think it's just not frankly, what we've been taught in this country. I mean, I hate to say this, but marriage it's romantic, but it's been romanticized. I mean, if you really look at the laws surrounding marriage and the laws surrounding divorce, which is the device we use to dissolve a marriage, it's financial. And so the law doesn't look at the emotional aspect of your
Right.
marriage and the love and the bond and the commitment. Unfortunately, it looks at dividing assets and dividing money and assessing support and things like that. So when you're entering into a marriage, you are entering into a financial partnership.
Well, she's asking.
So if you look at it
how
like
do you
that, it's
know?
not that weird.
How do you know if you need a prenup?
I think everyone needs a prenup. I think
Okay.
even if you have nothing, you should get a prenup, because maybe someday you'll have something.
That's true. That's true.
And likely you will. And even young couples that are starting out, with not much, I suggest everyone get a prenup. And very, very low percentage of people actually have a prenup.
Wow, that's something.
And it is a hard thing to talk about. I mean, when
Yeah.
it's not something you want to think about when you're planning your wedding and you're planning the rest of your life with someone who is that you're in love with and planning a family with and things like that. But it's just wise. Frankly, it's a wise business decision. It's a
I like
wise
that answer.
It's a wise
Don't worry
financial
about
decision.
What's there? Just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, because someday you will have money, and you might. And also, I think I see it take financial pressure off of couples during the marriage, because they sort of know, okay, this is. Sometimes they'll enter into a prenup, and they'll put in the prenup provisions about how they're going to govern their finances during the marriage. Are we going to have a house account, a joint account? Are we going to have separate accounts? Are we going to keep things separate? Where's the income going to go? And then if we do split up, how is this all going to be divided? And do we go by title, or do we have joint assets, or how do we do this? And if you establish all the rules in advance, then you can focus on
But they
your
should come
relationship.
to you to do this, because you know all the areas that need to be covered.
Yes.
Versus if they're doing it themselves, they might forget about something.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know how anybody would do a prenup by themselves. I mean, you can probably get some kind of form online or something, but I can't
but
imagine
what I'm
it would be.
saying is, I get it all settled and then come to you. You should be there, because there's going to be things that they don't think about.
Yeah, well, typically when people come to me and they say, we've talked about this and we kind of know what the terms of the agreement that we want, I will still tend to point things out or ask them questions that they haven't thought about.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And you know what? That's another thing. I don't know. I've got the stigma, Tina, that if an attorney has got shingles hanging out the door, and there's 7 different, I do PI, I do criminal, I don't know how you can be great at 7 different areas.
Yeah.
This is all you do.
Correct. Yeah.
Strictly family
Yeah,
law.
this is all I do, and and the board you mentioned the board certified designation. So what that
and
means
there's
is
not very
that
many
there's not very
board
many.
certified,
Right.
even in the whole state.
Right, in the whole state, I rounding the number, but it's something like 275 lawyers in the whole state are board certified in family law, out of over 100,000 lawyers that we now have in the Florida bar. So it's a very, very small percentage, and what it means is that the Florida bar has designated a board certified attorney as an expert in their area of practice.
Right.
And you cannot
And you deserve
advertise
that for what
you
you've
cannot
done.
advertise that you're an expert, and you cannot even
Right.
advertise that you specialize in a specific area of the law unless you are board certified. And it's a rigorous process. A lot of people, there's an exam. It's almost like taking another bar exam, but just in
Right.
complex family law. And it's tough, and most people don't pass it.
And that puts you in a whole different category than
Yeah.
other people who say they handle family law.
It,
are.
it definitely
I can
sets
say that.
it definitely sets you apart. Absolutely,
It does.
Yeah.
So, okay, now this is something because we've been doing the show for so long. Is there a such thing as a separation agreement?
There could be something called a separation agreement. So what I typically see that mean is either the parties decided a couple of things. It could be a couple different things. The parties decided that they want to separate but remain married, and it's sort of almost what we'd call a post-nup.
So you put an agreement together for this.
Yeah, I mean, assuming that's what we're talking about. Yeah, assuming that's what we're talking about, it would sort of be a postnuptial agreement, meaning it's executed after the date you've been married, as opposed to a prenup, which is executed before the marriage. But it's similar to a prenup, establishing this is what we're going to do with our finances. Maybe they, by that point in time, they have children. They want to figure out, okay, temporarily while we're separated, but before a divorce or instead of a divorce, this is how we're going to govern things. And if we do get a divorce, this is how we're going to divide things. So that's typically what I would see being a separation agreement.
So here's somebody, I'm glad they asked it this way.
It's another form of a postnup.
Okay, so this person here, they want to know how long it takes to get a divorce if you have a lot of assets. So it's a little bit different now. They're not, because every divorce is different.
Yeah, anywhere from 20 days to 10 years. Now, I don't know. It's a long. It could be a long time. Okay. So the typical process: you're going to start a divorce case, any divorce case. You're going to file a petition for dissolution of marriage, serve it on the other party. The other party has 20 days to respond. You're exchanging financial disclosure. Your basic, simple financial disclosure. The bare bones financial disclosure is due 45 days after service of the petition. So you're a month and a half in. Typically, once, in a high asset or in a high asset case, you're going to do a lot more disclosure than the bare bones. You're going to say, I want to go back a few years at least, maybe
probably 3 years. Have to go to court.
3 years, 4 years, 5 years. You're going to do discovery and exchange documents. And so that could take a lot longer to gather those things. So probably a few months at least into the case, you're going to mediation as your first mediation to try to settle the case. It depends on what the assets are. If you have businesses, you probably need to hire forensic accountants. It depends on the complexity of the assets. So if you have to get experts like that involved, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to court. Those cases can still be settled, and we settle them all the time, but they just take longer because there's so much detail. And there's a lot of tracing of assets and things like that where we get the forensic CPAs involved. And so it just takes longer.
As usual, the first 15 minutes goes by really fast. We're here with Tina Lord, attorney Tina Lord. Give everybody your phone number. We're going to go to break.
Phone number is 561-544-6861.
And you got to give them that great-looking website.
The website is lewertlaw.com, Lewert, law.com.
We're going to go to break, and we come back. We have more with attorney Tina Lord.
Lewert Law Offices is proud to be the family law expert on the Ask the Expert show. Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation in a wide range of family law matters, including divorce, child custody, time sharing and visitation, child support, alimony, complex asset distribution, post-judgment modifications, and paternity actions. For expert representation in all aspects of divorce and family law, contact attorney Tina Lewert today at 561-544-6861 or visit www.lewertlaw.com.
Hey, we are back. We had kind of a late break, and we're here with Tina Lewert, attorney Tina Lewert. She's a board-certified family attorney, and if you've been listening long enough, she's got her stuff together. I've always told you what I really like about you is you make it so easy to understand. You don't talk over people's head. I mean, you make it. I want to listen. I want to hear what you have to. No, because it's important. Because
it is important.
People come in with their head all clouded up, and
when you're looking for a divorce attorney,
it's emotional.
You need, you absolutely. And that's another thing. Your mind is sort of already mush because it's one of the most emotional things a person can go through. But just one tip that I usually have for people is talk to different attorneys and make sure that you do get all your questions answered. Because I like you said, I do cases from beginning to end, but I have a lot of cases that come to me where the case has already been going on and the person is not necessarily happy with their lawyer, and they say, I want to hire a new lawyer because this isn't working out. And one of the things I hear often is that they're dissatisfied because the attorney doesn't explain things to them, or they can't reach them, but they don't get their questions answered, and they don't understand everything going on. They don't know what's being filed. The attorney's filing things without their knowledge, or filing things that they don't even know what they are. And that wasn't me.
I even turned it down and it still did it. That's strange.
So yeah, I think when you go for a consultation with a divorce attorney, make sure that you feel good about it. You feel like your questions were answered, and anything that you were confused about is now explained, and I think that's important. That's what I try to do.
Something we have never talked about, someone asked, is about servicing your clients. Because I know you're very hands-on, and tell me how's your firm maybe different from other firms?
Well, when you're hiring a lawyer, just like I was saying earlier about the judges are human beings. A lawyer's a human being, so it's a personal work ethic and things like that come into play. There's a bedside manner. I mean, all those things come into play. So, and one of the things too, I'm a sole practitioner. I'm what they call a sole practitioner, meaning I'm the only lawyer in my firm. I have a lawyer that works in my office that's of counsel that helps out on some cases. But if generally, if you're hiring me, if you're hiring me, you're going to get me. I'm the one that's going to be meeting with you and going to court with you if you go to court, and going to mediation and going to all the things, depositions, and you're probably going to wind up with my cell phone number at some point and probably use it at some point because things happen after hours. It's life, it's family, it's your children, things like that. So it doesn't stop at 5 p.m. So that's just part of the job. That's how I see it as a family law attorney, as a divorce attorney. We take that on as part of our job, is just being there and being accessible. And, even if I'm in a mediation all day, I'm going to be there later at night, giving the calls back at 8 p.m. or trying to send an email or have somebody else, have my staff give you a call back or something, so that there's attention all the time to the case or whatever's going on.
So I have a question. I don't think this has ever been asked. It's a really good question. How do the courts decide which parent gets custody if both parents want custody?
So, okay. Good question, and one that I get all the time. And I'll start out by saying that a few years back, the parenting statute that we have, we used to refer to it as the custody statute, and some people will still say that, and I know that's the word we use, custody, for lack of a better word, but they took the word custody out of the entire chapter of the statutes that has to do with family law. Nobody has custody. You could say both parents have custody, or you could say really nobody. It's your equal parents is the starting presumption, that you both have equal rights as parents. You have shared parental responsibility is one of the aspects of that. There's a presumption of shared parental responsibility, meaning both parties have equal decision-making rights. You're 50-50 decision makers. Everybody gets a say, an equal say in what school the children go to, what extracurricular activities they participate in, what doctors they see, what health care they get, all those important decisions. So that's the presumption in the law. And then we also figure out what's the time sharing schedule. So when we talk about custody, well,
who do they live with?
They live with both.
Wow.
That's the ideal, is that they live with both. There's nothing in the law right now that says that there's a presumption for 50-50, but I see a lot of judges doing 50-50. We're settling a lot of cases for 50-50 time sharing as much as possible. Sometimes you'll have parents, one of the parents where their work schedule doesn't allow for that. They travel a lot or something. So it's really sort of like there's no set. We have model time sharing schedules.
Ever ask the kids, a judge, who they'd like to stay with?
Rarely.
Okay.
But it's not even set forth like that. It's not who do you want to stay with. It's sometimes the judges really don't like to get the children involved, and the judges don't like the children to come testify. So if we have a situation where there's abuse or there's something really wrong going on that's going to affect the safety or well-being of a child, then we would typically get a guardian ad litem involved in the case, and that's somebody that would conduct an investigation. They talk to the parents, they talk to the children, they talk to doctors, teachers, therapists, whoever is relevant sort of collateral source to talk to and get information, and then they make a recommendation about what's in the best interest of the child. So they're still not recommending that, oh, this person gets custody.
Okay.
They're just recommending what should the schedule be. What should the schedule be? And sometimes if you have extreme cases where there is, some kind of abuse or something like that going on, or neglect or something terrible, you might have a recommendation for one parent to have supervised time sharing, or no overnights until they jump through these hoops or do something to get help or get treatment or whatever the case may be. So we don't even use the word custody in the statutes anymore. We have parental responsibility, which is the decision-making rights, and then we have a schedule, a time-sharing schedule. And the ideal situation is that they have two homes. And I tell parents, make that a positive thing.
Right.
You're going to have 2 bedrooms and 2, isn't that cool? You get to decorate a new bedroom in the new house, or, whatever the case may be. So that's how it's done.
What happened to the days where they would stay with mom Mondays, maybe
like
even
Kramer versus Kramer?
and just they would go with the
What year was that?
father on the weekends
Yeah.
or for the summer. But it just
Times
seems,
have changed.
yeah.
Times have changed. It's no.
That's not hard
there's-
on the kids.
My observation is that I see parents that can be civil with each other and co-parent, that the kids are actually more well adjusted.
Wow.
And they get used to, the schedule. They know who they're going to be with on what days, and they're a little more socialized. They have this family here and that family there, and they get to do more things, and 2 Christmases and 2 birthday parties, and isn't that? So I think that people who try to put a positive spin on it, their kids do great. They do just
Wow.
fine.
Well, time flew again. Listen, if you're going through or thinking about going through a divorce, give Tina a call. Her phone number is
561-544-6861.
And maybe you might have even your parents or someone you know who's going through a divorce. Tina is wonderful. She's been with us for 3 years, and we love her here. She's amazing.
Thanks.
And she's a darn good attorney. She'll be back again next month. More Tina Lewert. Give her a call. Just give everybody your phone number again.
Sure, 561-544-6861, and the website is lewertlaw.com,
And you can actually
Lewert.
go watch the show today. On her website. There's great information on there. And we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about bankruptcy law.
Oh.
We'll be right back.
Lewert Law Offices is proud to be the family law expert on the Ask the Expert show. Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation